Welcome to Wild About Trial. Today we are discussing all the recent developments in the Etan Patz case. Joining me is Kelly Gerner, a legal expert, and Ryan Kerns with Wild About Trial. Ms. Gerner, will you please tell the viewers about this case and what's going on now?
Absolutely. So the Etan Patz case is the classic 1970s case of the boy on the milk carton, and this was the boy who disappeared on his way to school in New York City in the 70s, launching a nationwide manhunt for the child. His body was never found. His death was never confirmed, and for many years this has been an unsolved case, a cold case, if you will. It was recently reopened when 51-year-old Pedro Hernandez, a man from New Jersey, came forward and confessed to killing Etan Patz. Since then, the investigation has been reopened, and New York Police Department has been unable to locate any real evidence linking Pedro Hernandez to the case other than Hernandez's own confession. And that could be for a number of reasons, in part because the case is so old. This is a 40-year-old case.
But doesn't Mr. Hernandez have some real mental health issues?
He does, and that leads us to where we are today. Mr. Hernandez has a long history of documented mental health problems, and now his lawyers are starting to think that he may be factually innocent of the crime that he confessed to, and that his false confession was in fact driven by mental illness. And I think Ryan can tell us a little bit more about that.
Mr. Hernandez has been diagnosed previously with schizotypal personality disorder. He has hallucinations. He has an IQ test bordering on actual mental retardation. And so when he actually confessed to this crime, his attorneys are saying that that confession itself, since that's the only evidence tying him to this case, that confession was caused by his mental illness, and that without that there is no evidence linking him to this murder.
And to date, there is no other evidence linking him to this murder. How about, was he around the area at the time? Have they been able to establish that?
He was. I mean, there's some circumstantial evidence that would link Hernandez. He was working in a bodega nearby where Patz lived that would have been on young Patz's route to school. So it's certainly conceivable that this could have happened the way Pedro Hernandez said that it did, but they haven't found anything else.
And he has no prior record?
No prior record. He is a family man. He's very involved and active in his church.
For many of our viewers, it's very hard to understand why anyone would confess to a crime that they did not commit. And something that the viewer must understand, and we really need to explain, is that people confess to crimes for a lot of different reasons, even though they had nothing to do with it. One is, of course, if there is any history of mental illness. They can certainly be delusional. They can think that they were involved in a greater scheme, like the John F. Kennedy assassination. Additionally, to get some attention, media attention. It seems like the fun thing to do at the time. There's tons of media swarming around them. They are important in that minute. Another reason is because, and this has happened in the past, that the police literally beat them down to the point where they believe that if they say something, even if it's not true, they will be released. So you have where they are placed in isolation, they're not given anything to drink, they're not given anything to eat, and they believe that if they tell the police that they are involved, they will be released. And so it's very important not to look at a confession and immediately say, oh, we got our guy, but you've got to look at the surrounding circumstances. You've got to ask if they have a history of mental illness. You've got to ask if they believe that they were promised something for making this statement, or they have some belief that they will get media attention or attention from their family if they say they were involved.
It's important to note, Alison, as well, in the state of New York, a defendant can be found guilty simply with a confession and the district attorney proving that a crime occurred. Those are the only two elements required if there is a confession. So the most important thing for the defense in this case is to show that this confession was false, because without that, then there is no case.